Hey, this is Dr. Banzai. Today we're taking a look at the Nikon CoolPix A1000. Thanks to Camera in Rockford, Illinois for letting me try this out at their shop. The A1000 is a step up from the previous A900 quite a few ways, which we'll get to. I did try the A900 out previously, that you can check out that video if you would like. The A1000 has a 16 megapixel 1/2.3 inch sensor, the same physical size as the A900 sensor, but less megapixels, so each little photo site is probably larger. ISO range is 100 to 6400. There is a built-in flash on the camera, very nice to see. It doesn't have a hot tube. In a step up from the A900, this camera has a built-in electronic viewfinder. Now it's not the best ever, but it is in there. It's nice to have that viewfinder on there, so you can have a more traditional photographic experience with this camera. The view on the viewfinder and the screen are around 98% according to the spec, which is a little unusual. Biggest feature of a camera like this, considering its size, is the long zoom lens, 35x. It's 4.3 to 151 millimeters with f3.4 to 6.9 aperture throughout that zoom range. The equivalent focal length range in 35 millimeter format is 24 to 840 millimeters. So you definitely get a lot of range with a camera like this. The lens has vibration reduction in there, which is very important for a camera like this. And in video mode, you can do a mixture of lens-based VR plus electronic stabilization. Another big change for the A1000 compared to the previous model is that it has a flip down and forward screen, and it's full touch enabled. So you can go through the menus with the touch screen if you'd like. You can change focus points. Very nice improvement to the interface with the A1000. The camera has two ports on it. You've got the micro HDMI and the micro USB port. The camera uses ENEL12 batteries, a very small battery. You get around 250 photos or 55 minutes of video per charge. So it's about average for a camera like this. The SD card is located very close to the battery. That's a usual spot for a camera like this. On the bottom of the camera, where the tripod socket is not ideal. So if you're doing panoramas, which I did do a little test of the panorama feature, it would be nice to have a tripod socket in line with the lens. In this case it's not, but considering how large the lens is, I can understand why they put the tripod socket on the side. Now, actually a good thing about that position of the tripod socket is that you should be able to change the battery with a quick release plate on the camera. That's a nice benefit of this unusual placement. You have a main mode dial with the standard program, aperture, shutter, and manual modes on there. So it is great that with a camera like this you've got full manual control. There are a few easy modes or creative modes on that main dial as well. As usual with Nikon cameras like this, the bridge ones and the compact long zoom, you have two different zoom controls, one near the shutter and one around the lens. They did include the snapback focus feature, so what you do is when you're fully zoomed into something and you have a very small view, you can hold that button down and it'll zoom back quickly to give you an easy way to see where you are. You let the button go and it'll zoom back. Very nice feature on the Nikon long zoom cameras. There is an FN button that you can customize on the front of the camera. A little difficult to press, but it's nice that it's there. Gives you a little more direct control when you need it. There is a dedicated button to switch between the viewfinder and the screen, which is nice to have. However, you can also just use the standard sensor on there to switch. I did do a quick test to see how fast it changes from the back screen to the viewfinder. It's pretty quick. Just general build quality of the camera feels nice and rugged. It's not really a tiny camera. It's relatively compact, but still pretty large. A nice photographer focused benefit of this camera is you can shoot in RAW format. Previous one, the A900, you weren't able to do that, but in this one you can. So if you have the right software, you can get a little bit more out of your photos potentially than just standard JPEGs. There is wireless connectivity on the camera. I did try it out. It's very quick to connect with that SnapBridge application, but it is very limited in features as far as I could tell. I didn't do too much with it, but I wasn't able to change any setting while taking photos remotely. I could just do the shutter. I'm not sure if it was something I was doing or the app is just very limited, but it's there and it's an option. There are various scene modes in the camera, which is nice to have. You can do time-lapse in the camera or also panorama. If you're into creative modes and filters, they have quite a few in there. I did quickly scroll through those. They have manual focus ability on the camera with peaking, which is very nice to have in a camera like this that has an integrated lens. So if you want to do manual focus, it is an option. Some important aspects of the camera. One is with autofocus. This is contrast-based autofocus, which is not ideal in any camera these days. It's just a older, not as capable version compared to on-sensor phase detect. So with contrast detect autofocus, you sometimes will get quick autofocus, especially with nice bright light. The autofocus area modes, you've got face priority, manual spot, manual normal, wide, subject tracking, and then the default is that target finding autofocus. There are a few autofocus modes. You have pre-focus, full-time autofocus, and single autofocus. This camera has quite a few video modes, especially with the flip-down screen. That can be a nice feature on a camera. I did not see any 24 frames per second modes on this camera. If you're into 24 frames a second, this would not be a camera for you. However, it does have 4K, 30 frames a second, full sensor as far as I can tell. You have 1080p with 30 or 60 frames a second, and you have a slow-mo mode, basically the 60 frames a second slowed down in the camera. A few missing features, at least things I think this camera should have had compared to other models of camera that are similar price points or similar feature sets. No mic port. In a camera like this, especially with the flip down screen for vlogging, it would be nice to have that mic port, and no hot shoe on the camera. It is a smaller camera, so I don't see it as being a huge issue. As I was trying the camera out, of course I don't have a lot of time. Autofocus was a mixed bag. Some situations it felt very quick. Other situations it was very slow, if not unable to focus, especially when you zoom out all the way in dark situations. You're getting a really small aperture at that long zoom, and also it's contrast-based autofocus. Just gonna have some troubles with autofocus. Compared to the A900, this camera went down in megapixels, which I think was a good idea for a camera like this with a small sensor. Trying to get better quality, and definitely a good move on their part. Let's check out those video samples. I did take a few test photos. Let's check those out. I'll show you a full view, and then I'll show you a cropped 100% view on each photo. For around 2 or 3 years now, I've been very critical of cameras like this because they have the small sensors, which with smartphones these days, they're getting larger and larger sensors, more and more cameras built into each phone with different focal lengths. So with a camera like this, you have that extremely long zoom lens, which is its main feature. But with this specific one, you actually have the flip down screen, you have touch controls. I really like this one a lot more than the A900 because it has some quality of life features that are very nice. So it's hard for me to give any type of recommendation for a camera like this because there are a lot of other options out there. But if you're interested, definitely check it out for yourself. Get a feel for the autofocus system and see if it works well enough for you, and consider if it's small enough to give you what you're looking for and give you the amount of zoom range you want. Think about all those features together and see if it works for you. That was a look at the Nikon CoolPix A1000. Again, thanks to Cameracraft in Rockford, Illinois for letting me try this out at their shop. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider subscribing. That helps me out a lot. Likes and shares help out a lot as well. Thanks again.